But also in your content, you talk a lot about the trauma responses that you might not realize are actually trauma responses. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So there are so many behaviors that we do on a day-to-day basis that people think are absolutely normal when actually they come from trauma and they're not healthy at all. One very common one is perfectionism. So, you might think, oh, why not? Like always trying to achieve perfection or do things the right way is good, right? But perfectionism usually leads to a lot of procrastination. It stops you from acting, from starting a business, starting a project, just doing things in general because you try to make them perfect. And obviously they can never be perfect. And it usually comes from your childhood, where you were criticized, for instance, or you weren't allowed to make mistakes. You go back to school, right? To primary, middle school. You weren't encouraged to make mistakes. You were punished, or, you weren't allowed to. So you learn that, okay, making mistakes is bad. And this is a big mistake that the education system makes. And it creates this generation of people that are afraid to take risks, that are afraid to act. And the solution for this is to actually start consciously making mistakes, start putting yourself in new situations, new environments where you don't know what to do or you make mistakes. So you can kind of show your mind and your brain that it's okay. I'm allowed to make mistakes. It doesn't decrease my self-worth. So that's about perfectionism. Then another common behavior is cutting people off at the smallest mistake. You will say, oh no, that's called putting boundaries, or I'm respecting myself. It's good to cut people off when they make a mistake. And it's not. It's not healthy. And it comes from a trauma response. It's a defense mechanism. Because usually when you feel like you're not in control of the situation, of your feelings, you will feel like this sense of urgency to act, to cut someone off, to block them, to do something so you regain control over your emotions. And most people regret it like almost instantly, and it's very detrimental to their relationships. It's not healthy. It's not called putting boundaries. So here, it's important that you actually take a step back, think a little bit, before you react, kind of delay this response that you have on autopilot. Besides this, another really usual trauma response that a lot of people have is emotional monitoring. So you're constantly kind of scanning the environment. Let's say I'm talking to you, and at some point during the conversation you sigh, or I don't know, you look another way, and I start overanalyzing. Oh, does she hate me? Did I say something wrong? Oh, she's not interested. Like you start creating all these negative scenarios, you start catastrophizing and so on. And this is because in your childhood, you were probably like walking on eggshells, or you were in an environment where your household, your mom, your parents were unpredictable. You never knew what to expect, so you become hyper-vigilant, and you're kind of learning to anticipate any kind of danger and changes in your environment, so you can like protect yourself, or it's a protection mechanism. And here it's important to understand that you're not a child anymore. You're not a child that's vulnerable and in danger anymore. You can handle anything that happens to you. Even when someone is upset with you, you can handle that. It's okay. It's okay for people to be upset with you. And it's not your responsibility to guess or assume how someone else is feeling. It is their responsibility as an adult to communicate how they feel. And same goes for you.
So many wise words. Honestly, a few light bulb moments through all of everything that you were saying there that I just think so many people will at home, like if you're listening to this right now, just like I am sat here in this seat thinking, wow, like some things I hadn't even considered that you are now bringing to light. I'm going, wow, I do that. And like maybe it is linked to all of these kinds of things. And it's just so fascinating. And I think I learn a lot about myself from every single episode that I do the Talk 20s podcast, but I'm learning a lot about myself today.